Since I'm not of that persuasion, I don't have any more Captain Indians. Captain Srini. Captain Srini. What did we print out? What are we passing here? Huh?
Exclamation.
Oh, so somebody was smart enough to ask it to be printed out? Okay. Okay.
Did you say it could do
No,
that?
I didn't say you're right. Absolutely right. Okay. Yes, sir.
All right. Could you remind us again when you said bottom end of middle tier?
We're going to cover the slide tomorrow. I haven't forgotten you. Okay.
Bottom end of the middle tier. What are you referring to?
Oh, healthcare.
Yes. What does that mean?
That means between 40 and 45 beds.
Okay.
Assisted living.
Assisted living.
That's what he was.
Bedpans. Nobody calls it bedpans except me, you know. You know why it's bedpans? Because the assisted living you're going to put your parents in, it's 5 old gits, shitting them. We go from diapers to diapers, in case you didn't know, okay? It's shitting himself, and there's one disbarred doctor and 2 disbarred nurses taking care of your parents, and, where the going rate is $2,700 to $4,500 a month, you're paying $1,100 a month, and there's one bedpan amongst the 5 poor old little people. Bedpan, you put it under the ass so they can shit and piss in it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, and there's not enough people to wipe their asses. That's where you're sending your folks. Okay, but I go at the bottom end of the middle tier, where it's between $2,700 and $5,500 a month that you're paying, that you wouldn't pay for your parents or in-laws. That's where I go. And I buy something. I probably buy the first business I tried, because I don't take no for an answer. And when you don't take no for an answer and you know how to prospect, I didn't close 94.6% because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Not everybody wanted to buy from me. I'll put it another way. They still bought. Not everybody wanted to sell to me. They still sold. Because I don't care what they think of me. And there's a big difference. You do. Not just you, but at the end of the day, just as I said, you start with an insulting offer, and you work your way up from there. But the offer's still fucking insulting. I mean, the deal's still insulting. It's just not as insulting as the opening offer, or the opening gamut, or the opening volley, or whatever you want to call it. And there's certain ethnicities that are better at it than others. Persian rug peddlers. $26,000 for a rug, 9 square feet. It costs $40 to make. And they say there's 72 million stitches in the fucking rug. Hand woven over 11 years. Like in semen. I mean, are you kidding me? And that's their starting position. The only thing they don't say anymore is you can fly on it. But back in the day, they used to say you could fly on the goddamn thing. And but it's obvious. It's when we were in Egypt, when they had the big riots 5 or 6 years ago, and they were shooting people in the streets in Egypt, and they had to come and spray paint the grass because there was blood all over it. And Sally and I were at the Four Seasons, and we had the second or third biggest suite. And the general manager came down and said, "We're going to upgrade you to the presidential suite." I said, "Okay." We were the only people in the Four Seasons Hotel in Cairo. No other customers. So, and we were the only, at the bar, at the restaurant, we were the only, customers, because they were killing people in the streets. And I said, "Sally, you know how to pick the time. I mean, Jesus Christ." But when we went to the Valley of the Kings and the Valley of the Queens, there were 15 of us, 18. Normally there's 3,000 or 4,000 people. So these poor guys that are selling, you have to run through the gauntlet to get to the Valley of the Kings, and all these stalls selling you shit, okay? and there's only 12 or 14 of us, and so Sally's stopping, and I mean these guys are hungry to sell something, and so Sally stops and talks. Don't talk to them. Just keep moving. Okay. And I see that the thing that they're selling there, you can buy across the street from the catty corner from the hotel for 10 cents on the dollar equivalent. So that registers. And so on the way back, Sally stops at one of the stalls and picks up the guy's thing and causes a fucking riot. And we've got armed guards with us, with automatic weapons, and they're not supposed to come to where the buses are. They're supposed to stay confined in that area. Well, somebody from the Middle East, you're not going to confine them in anything. And so they mob us at the little motor bus, and then Sally, she said, well, no, I'd really like it, kind of. And Sally, please, just get in the goddamn automobile. And the guards are pushing these guys back with guns and this shit like this. And Sally hangs out the window. I really would like that thing, And Sally, just get back. And those groups, they were telling the people the rugs did fly. So, but they went down from 11 million stitches to 4 million stitches, But obviously, those offers for sale are bullshit. And most of the people have read some book in selling. You ask for 5 times more than it's worth, and maybe you'll get 2 times more than it's worth. Someplace, just as someplace somebody wrote, the first one that says the offer loses. Okay? What they don't tell you is cash is king. The guy that has the gold makes the golden rule. And so you will be perceived as the guy or the gal or the group or the investment consortium that has the money, so you can offer whatever. And as Peter said in the webinar, of course we have the money, so you can, and you will get away with offers that will be considered obscene. And just as when we talked about, he bought it for €1 and he should have got paid to take it off the guy's hands. But you've never heard that before. I mean, 4 or 5 of you looked, I don't know, aghast is the right word, but you looked stunned. But you've never asked for somebody to pay you. Well, I mean, you really went out of the deal, and this is an exaggeration. His wife's spitting up blood, an emphysema, and he's limping around from a stroke. Well, I can help you out, buddy. I can give you some quality of life the last 6 or 7 months of your life. Get rid of this piece of shit. How much money you got in your checking account? What? Oh, 50. Can you borrow some money from your kids? I can take it off your hands for $250. He's asking $1 million. $250. And then Margaret, who spit him, blood. We could probably get $75,000 from my sister. And this really happens. But if you don't ask, Sid and Perry aren't going to come to your rescue. This is an inside joke for those of you from Fort Worth. Anyway, probably nobody. Can they read and write there in Fort Worth now? Yeah. That's Fort Worth, Texas, folks. But if you've never negotiated like that, when I was thinking of you the other day, I bought the first house for $1 million in Palos Verdes in 1977. The first house in Palos Verdes I bought for $1 million, 41 years ago. And then it broke open the ceiling or whatever they called it then, from a little lady broker named Mary, and Mary Lawhoff, God rest her soul. And her husband was a vet in Palos Verdes. God rest his soul too. He's gone. But I was thinking about that, and but unless you use, some of these outrageous techniques, outrageous to the norm, and again, as Bruce would say, if you don't ask, you don't get. But people will pay you to take some of this shit. The operative word is shit off their hands. The most obvious is when something's been on the market 12, 15, 25, 45 months, forget about it. You're not paying a nickel. The only ones paying a nickel are you. Now that puts it more in perspective. Some of these things have been on for sale for years, and all they do is change listings in real estate terms and change brokers. And if you really do Google search other than the first fucking page, like you see it was on the market in 88. And they think it's on the market 30 years. No, I'm exaggerating. 30 years that their piece of property, and I asked you how much has real estate gone up in Deming, and you go like this. Deming's where my father was born, Deming, New Mexico. And it doesn't mean that it's gone up in value. I mean, it hasn't kept up with, not all assets keep up with inflation. But you've never, you think, for whatever reason, you think because they built something for $1 million 5 years ago, it's probably worth $1.5 million or $2 million. Wrong. It depends on a whole other set of statistics. Are you a Keynesian or you're a supply side economist? It's all kind of other shit. The acceleration of money. You don't learn all this shit. The acceleration of money and all this other stuff. But the bottom line is what he will take or what he will pay you to take the asset. And again, how motivated are they? And again, we get back to is he or she a prospect or a suspect? And most of you, not just you, but YouTubers have been dealing with suspects, not prospects. And when you refine your funnel, your sales funnel, one of the benchmarks, and it's in your templates, is how long has the goddamn asset been on the market? Now, you think that's simple, but the look at the face here, I look like a deer in the headlights. And people do change, bro. And, people will have, let's say they're trying to sell a piece of property in Sacramento. And they'll use a New York broker because it's been on the market in Sacramento for 11 years. And they'll switch it to Collier International. Is Collier International still around? The big international property broker? Yeah, they're still around. They'll switch it to Collier, based in New York City. But if you do the research, well, the same piece of property has been on the market forever. Well, if it's been on the market forever, it's either overpriced, right? Or there's some other red flag that transcends price. But the bottom line is nobody's has purchased it. And the reason why healthcare is hot, not as hot as cybersecurity, but hot, is because my age people don't want to die, and there's more and more of me, or us, and you don't want us to live at home. Thank God Sally and I are going to be living with our kids, but you don't want us to live at home, God forbid, right? Asians, that's sucked into their DNA, supporting their families, but you got to put them someplace. That's why assisted living has become such a mega industry. So that's why when I say I go to the lower end of the middle tier, which is probably 100 times bigger than it was when Rick Scott rolled up Columbia Healthcare. Maybe 1,000 times bigger. I've never done the sums. But I know that there's, 1,000 times more me than there was 35 years ago. Age group 55 to 75. And on top of that, not all, but many of the other countries, Asia, Europe, are moving to the United States to retire, and then so the healthcare system got to take care of them. It's a no-brainer. And they're coming from the EU countries to the UK. It's a no-brainer. And if you live here long enough, you fall, not victim, I'm being sarcastic, you fall under the auspices of the National Health Service, where they take care of you for fucking free. So when I tell you healthcare is a hot motherfucker, a 5-year-old whore on a street corner in front of a fucking 3,000 sailors getting off the boat that have been at sea 9 years. When I say it's fucking hot, it's hot. Yeah, but but you're gonna research. You're gonna spend 3 months because you're illiterate. You can't even say months. 3 months, and oh no. I really want to do a crypto fuck or something. Yeah. Okay. Who's my 6? 6:30. We're back in the castle, much to my staff's happiness. Not. And tonight you'll see one of my most famous mentees. And if you want any insight on him, this gentleman here worked under the auspices of his regime back in the day. Any questions on anything? Yes, sir.
What's the quickest way to get out of personal guarantee?
Oh no, I thought you were going to say, what's the quickest way to get out of here? Okay. Just get your skinny ass and just walk in front of, and don't let the door hit you in your bony ass on the way out. Okay, so ask me again.
What's the quickest way to get out of personal guarantee?
Don't worry about it.
But the quickest way to get out of the personal guarantee is to either pay off the loan and or have so many additional assets, second, third, fourth, fifth acquisition. And by the way, they're not going to say, just because let's say your personal guarantee is for $1 million and you have now 10 million of deals, they're not going to say, doctor, please come off the personal guarantee. They're not going to say that. You're going to have to pound them. You start pounding them from the time the first deal closes and the next deal, because the more assets you put up, the less gravity, the less weight your personal guarantee has. So, after the first deal. The guy from Adelaide, no personal guarantee, his first deal, 6.6 million, non-recourse, and he's coming back in July. Probably because, Jason, if you're listening, probably because he forgot everything by now. Probably he forgot everything. On that happy note, good night.